Thanks, Tasani, for joining us from Guam. That island is on edge, but as she said, not very much in terms of military movement there. So the authority is clearly trying to maintain calm. U.S. President Donald Trump's fire and fury comment, though, has sparked tensions across diplomatic circles. The war of words between both countries brings back memories of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Here at home, India has become a constant subject and target of Chinese media as the standoff in Doklam continues. The question then, can rhetoric and hype help a country's diplomatic efforts? Here's a report.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
This dare by U.S. President Donald Trump sparked a sharp reaction from North Korea, as Trump's Secretary of State Rex Tillerson reassured reporters on his plane North Korea threatened to strike the island of Guam within days. For some experts, Trump's statement brings back memories of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
I think President Trump's language was fuel on the fire. It is, the kind of incendiary language that we're used to hearing from the North Koreans, and especially to hear that from the highest level, from the president himself, it's not helpful.
Hype, bluff, and buster are well-known tools of international diplomacy. In 1962, when nuclear missiles stared at the United States from Cuba, John F. Kennedy, the then U.S. president, issued a public warning to the Soviet Union.
It shall be the policy of this nation to regard any nuclear missile launched from Cuba against any nation in the Western Hemisphere as an attack by the Soviet Union on the United States, requiring a full retaliatory response upon the Soviet Union.
Words were back up with action, and with support from Organization of American States and the international community, the United States was able to reach a settlement on October the 28th. But the situation is quite different in the age of Twitter. The rules of engagement have changed. President Trump's tweets, coupled with his public statements, has taken U.S. diplomacy to new lows.
I am not a fan of Assad. I certainly think that what he's done to that country and to humanity is horrible. The era of strategic patience with the North Korean regime has failed. Many years, and it's failed. And frankly, that patience is over.
Finally, I want to recognize everyone in the audience who has their own painful but important story to tell about the true and brutal nature of the Castro regime. Brutal.
We're getting gang members out, we're getting drug lords out, we're getting really bad dudes out of this country.
Trump's statements have raised the shrill levels of rhetoric, forcing his administration to go into damage control. Thanks to the American Free Press, reports of dissent within the White House is no longer a hidden secret. If you look close enough, one can easily draw parallels between Trump's statements and China's rhetoric on Doklam. As India and PLA troops continue to stare each other at Doklam, Chinese newspapers, especially the Global Times, has been consistent with its rhetoric and war cry. While India's Ministry of External Affairs has exercised restraint, emphasizing the importance of diplomacy in finding a resolution, but this week, a Global Times editor in a video message went a step ahead, claiming Indian security agencies are trying to trick the Modi administration on Doklam.
If Indian security authorities want to trick the entire Modi administration, I think war will be hard to avoid, because this means India is emboldened enough not to heed China's warning, leaving war as the only possible solution left. In 1962, the Nehru government was confident that China wouldn't strike. India is as naive now as it was back then. What a curious country.
Diplomatic statements are choreographed with deep care and thought. Statements are aimed to showcase intent, with words selectively chosen to achieve the desired results. Runaway hyperbole might dominate the headlines and social media trends for a short period, but in a changing world order, if shrill noise dominates discourse, both Donald Trump and China could very well become victims of their own hype. Bureau Report, WION.
And still ahead on the show, what's Pakistan's ousted Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif up to? Why is he holding huge rallies and how are his opponents responding?